Now, the victim, who says that Mixon threatened her, spent most of today's hearing on the stand. Prosecutors showed the stretch of road on 3rd Street where this all started and then progressed on Walnut Street. Now, the defense did not argue the point that Mixon pulled in front of the victim and cut her off on 3rd Street. The victim says that after that happened, she honked her horn at Mixon, and then he slammed on his brakes, forcing her to do the same. It was a short time later that the victim says that Mixon pointed a gun at her with his left hand and threatened to shoot her. The defense says that Mixon is right-handed and he would not have held a gun with his left hand. But the victim says that she told Mixon to use the gun if he was going to pull it out, kind of standing up to him, if you will. Now, during cross-examination of the victim, the defense attorney points out that she never once told police that she was scared during the interview that she did with them. Attorney Scott Croswell says that if the situation were as scary as the victim makes it out to be, she could have simply driven away to get away. Instead, she chose to fight instead of flight.
You repeatedly want him to know that in fact you weren't scared, that you were holding your ground, that you were in a fight mode, and that you were angry and mad. You wanted to make sure he understood that, right? Almost as if it was a badge of honor, correct? No. Well, that you told him that 6 times, and you insisted on going back to that each time, correct? Yes.
And that cross-examination got very heated today, very argumentative between the two. Now, the defense did announce that Joe Mixon will testify in his own defense tomorrow. This trial is expected to wrap up by the end of the day as well. It was initially stated as a jury trial, but at the last moment, the defense opted to not take advantage of that right to a jury trial, and they are just now going in front of a judge. At the Hamilton County Courthouse, I'm Christian Hauser. Back to you all in the studio.
And Christian, just to clarify something for our viewers, we heard somewhat from the witness on the stand, but it was bleeped out, and that was because she opted to not be recorded in the courtroom. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I apologize for not mentioning that, but the witness, and actually any witness in any trial in Ohio, now has the option to opt out of being recorded with video or even having their voice recorded, which is why you heard the bleeps there and the subtitles over that. We are allowed to quote witnesses, but we are just not allowed to use their audio or video if they opt out of that. So every witness for this case has opted out, which means that while we will hear from Joe Mixon tomorrow, the viewers will not, unfortunately. But I will do my best to live tweet what's happening.
Okay.
Adam?
All right, Christian. Thank you for that clarification. And make sure you follow Christian on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. It's now called X. Just search for Christian WKRC 12. You'll get a play-by-play, as Christian said, of the entire trial.
You can always find our local 12 stories right here on YouTube. Don't forget to tap subscribe, and then you can get all the notifications.